in week one, there is a lot of work. Okay, let's be honest. It is a ton of work. There's the business plan, and there's, all kinds of different forms that they've asked you to fill out and download, of course, download and fill out, including the workbook and things like that. One of the things to me that I love about the RAMP program is actually, believe it or not, the wrap-up video by Verl. Verl, for those of you who don't know, is the owner of Workman Success Systems, and just really a good guy who has big dreams. His dreams for the people who coach with Workman are always bigger than the dreams of the people being coached. Like, he can really see your potential. Hi, Missy. Michael told us you'd be joining us shortly. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to share my screen, and we're going to look at, let's see, let me go back where I'm not sharing. Share sound, optimize for video, and then we'll go week one, and then we're going to go down here, week one in review. Okay, and just Judy, since I can still see you sharing my screen, you can tell me if you can see this and hear
business
it,
goals and your personal goals.
You see it?
To the goal.
Okay, good. All right, let's
system.
start it over. All right, so please, guys, let's pay attention to what he's talking about at the end of week one.
Today, I begin a new life. Wow, what a week. I'll bet your head is just swimming with all the information that we've shared with you. And as I mentioned at the beginning of this program, I'm going to share with you a review and wrap up all of the previous week's material at the end of each week to help you stay organized, motivated, and focused on the content that you've learned. This program is going to require you to work hard and to commit to working on your success. As the weeks progress, you might find yourself starting to feel a little bit overwhelmed with all of the content and the assignments. My advice to you right now is to just make sure you complete all of your assignments and the homework when it's assigned. Don't save it for later or tell yourself you'll do it tomorrow. Just commit to doing all the assignments right away so you don't fall behind. It's so much easier to get things done a little bit at a time instead of trying to tackle this huge project at the very end. Trust me right now, and I promise you'll thank me later. Earlier this week, we mentioned The Greatest Salesman in the World by Og Mandino. This book contains 10 scrolls that are our guiding principles, and if you apply them, will guide you throughout your career and in your life, provided that you take the teachings and the scrolls to heart. The first scroll states, "Today I begin a new life. Today I shed my old skin, which has too long suffered the bruises of failure and the wounds of mediocrity." And then he goes on and says that in truth, the only difference between those who have failed and those who have succeeded lies in the difference of their habits. Good habits are the key to success, and bad habits unlock the door to failure. And he goes on to say that the first lie will follow is, "I will form good habits and become their slave." Beginning this course and committing to complete each of the sessions and all of the accompanying work is the first step in creating new habits. However, you must first become a slave to those habits. You must continue to work and commit to each and every single one of your new habits until they're no longer new to you and are just simply habits. The good habits that you choose to cultivate and nurture throughout this program will begin to replace your old habits with better habits and drive you closer and closer to your goals. So let's start with your big why. We asked you to write down your big why statement and put it in a place of prominence, like on your desk or your cell phone lock screen, or even.
All right, so that got you a good start so that you understand the importance. Of course, I have several of these. I give them away during the year. They're probably one of the greatest books ever. I encourage you to not only have one of these books, read through the entire book. It's a short paperback. It doesn't take that long, but we're going to be highlighting the particular scrolls throughout the whole class, their whole 12 weeks, different scrolls for different weeks. This is a book that will help you in your sales business, and it will help you in your life. So it's important that you have, like I said, I have 2 here. I think I have another one in that briefcase, several at my office, because it's such a good book. It's always good to like when you're having, a day that doesn't seem to be the day you plan, maybe grab that, pick a scroll, read it, and see how it helps you. The other thing too is the number of downloads and things that, and he's insisting that, remember, and I think we touched on it last week, that there are no habits that are good, bad, right, or wrong, even if it says them in the books. Well, I will form great habits and make them my slave. What they mean by that is more, what are the effective habits? What are the things that you can constantly do? And in this case, the most important effective habit is doing, you committed to doing the program, right? And there's that two-edged sword, that it's only $149 a year, which gets more people interested in it, but it's only $149 a year. And if you do it or don't do it, I only wasted, $12 a month. So that's the two-edged sword of understanding this at a very high level. The Verl is really, if you see him in person, he's got a nice friendly face there, but he's very direct. Like, he knows that the majority of people will, has anybody heard of the saying, an apple a day keeps the doctor away? Let me know if you've heard that. Okay, so Missy, would you mind coming off of mute and telling me what it's supposed to mean? You're still on mute. Here, let me do the, there
Well,
you go.
clearly I'm technically challenged on
That's all
top
right.
of, maybe I should eat more apples a day. Yeah, I think it's one of the things, doing something good is going to give you a good end result.
Yes, and something, it's more about consistency than it is the activities, because listen to this. Did they say an apple a day, or did they say have 7 apples on Sunday? Right? And that's the same thing with this. Eating 7 apples in one day is not an easy thing to do. First, you're going to be full. You're not going to eat the rest of the day if you try to eat all 7 of them. But second, trying to find the time as opposed to partitioning it out a little bit at a time. And that's the whole course. And you might say, well, Rick, this would have been good for you to say last week. No, it wouldn't have, because last week, the majority of people had not even watched all of week 1. Now that you've got week 1, hopefully under your belt, and by now you should have done week 2 also, you're going to start to see how important it is to create habits of consistency. It's more about the consistency. Do you remember? I think we even talked about it both on my Free Friday coaching call and this call last week, where we said, could you make 1 call a day, 30 days in a row, right? That's more about the consistency than the number. And the consistency itself will create more effective results than anything else. So I'd love for some of you now to share a little bit, because I do want to go, I'm going to do eventually in today, we're going to do Verl's wrap-up call for week 2. But I really want to get us, there was a lot of work in just the business plan in week 1. There were downloads. Obviously, there's a business plan workbook. There's the workbook for the entire class. And then this week, week 2, we had other downloads, right? We had our lead tracker. We had our top 50 tracker. They even gave us a little sign that we could print up that says, do not disturb, right? Power hour. So there's a lot there. So I'd love for some active participation where I hear from you, don't put it in the chat. Don't raise your hand with the little machine. Just like say something. Tell me what's going on for you.
Rick.
Yes.
This is Dewey.
Hi, Dewey.
I'm doing this course first time, and it is overwhelming.
Okay.
How detailed that it goes into for the first module, and the videos, and now second one with all those spreadsheets and things. And this is my I just completed first year in real estate.
Right.
My second from January 1st, and definitely want to follow certain things that I feel like I need to put it down, the cash flow budget and things. So it's going to help me a lot.
Good. So this is awesome that you said that. Let's ask you, since you're a year in the business, and there's some people on here less than that, of course, and there's some more than that. Are you starting to see that what they're saying makes sense to make that a consistent habit? Like you could see where you could grow a really good real estate business by doing that.
Totally.
Yeah.
Because it's not, I don't want the second year to be roller coaster ride. Consistency and the transactions needs to flow, but then the homework needs to be done.
Right.
That prospecting homework.
Yeah, we have people in that we use as examples at Workman Success Systems. There's a lady named Brooke Sines, S-I-N-E-S, and Brooke Signs got her real estate license 5.5 years ago, and she was at a Remax something, and she heard about Workman Success Systems. As a brand new agent, she immediately started paying $850 a month to Workman Success Systems for one-on-one coaching. The more you coach at Workman, the better the coaches you get because your business is progressing. So she went from paying $850 a month to now she's paying $2,200 a month for coaching. But in that time, in that 5.5 years, she went through every single program. In fact, she's on some of the other videos as a coach now. But what happened for Brooke is she followed, all she did was surrender, completely surrender, and did everything she was told to do in these programs. And today she has a huge team in Grand Rapids, Michigan, and she has a huge team in North Carolina, 2 cities, 2 different states, and doing very well. She didn't say, oh, I want another real estate. Her and her husband got sick of the cold Michigan, said, let's move to North Carolina. But they already had a thriving real estate business. So why end it? Keep it going. And that was all as a result of just biting off a little bit at a time, chewing it thoroughly. And by that, I mean absorbing it thoroughly and really understanding it and operating at that level. So it's very important. And that was a really, really great comment, Julie, that yes, it is overwhelming, but if you take it one bite at a time, if you do it along, in other words, do the homework assignment when it's been told to you to do it, then you're building on that. And each week gets easier because you've already built the foundation of knowledge that you need. The other thing too, that I want to hear from you guys besides the actual experience is, have any of you done anything, made any of the calls like you're being told to, so that you can say, Rick, guess what? I made a call and this happened or that happened. I'd love to hear experiences and success stories or even failure stories, because that's what you'll build on to get to the success. So share with me, keep talking. Oh, it's deafening. I can't hear you all at one
Hello,
time.
Missy.
Missy,
Okay, so
you got a big grin on your face, so it must be something good.
I did. I made a few calls this past week to past clients, and we had talked about it. My team is down there in Michael Henry's room,
Right.
and I'm on Michael Henry's team.
Yeah.
And we had talked about just the idea of like, it's painful, to make those calls at certain points, and you don't think it's really going to come out to anything. And so I did reach out to 4 past clients and got invited over to dinner last night. Went and had dinner with my client that I sold to 2 years ago. And it's just talking to them and knowing that they have a whole network of people that they can also share with as well. So yeah, I felt really good about that. And that's something that you consciously have to push yourself to do.
That's awesome, Missy. So yeah, if you go into the statistical world, this is for all of you, that if you have a really good relationship with the people that you have worked with, even if because obviously you might say, oh, Rick's been in real estate 42 years, but when I got into real estate, didn't I already have a ton of friends and people that I knew that already owned a home? Yes or no?
Mm-hmm.
Right? Yeah. So whenever you come into real estate, you're winning people over for the future. Most of your friends and network already owned a home. You didn't sell it to them, but guess what you can look up? All the people you knew, you can go into the records and find out the day they closed escrow on that home, and immediately every year start sending them a happy house anniversary. Did you realize that 5 years ago today, you closed escrow on your home? You owned your home. Do you know how powerful that is for people? Because they forget that stuff. But when you say, oh, I don't know anybody, yes, you do. You know tons of people, right? And so, Missy, what you did, here's the point of my little story there, is people that know, love, and trust you. And I know a lot of people say, don't say love, Rick. Okay, know, like, and trust you. I like people to love me, not just like me. But if you know people who know, like, and trust you, they would be willing to open up their database for you. And you can usually win over 20 to 30% of anyone's database, given sufficient time. All right. But again, we don't think of that. Think of their volume. Go on their Facebook. Look at all the people that aren't mutual friends of yours on their Facebook page. There's so much we can do that we're not doing. And people are like, do you think I should buy Zillow leads? And then I give them 38 things. I ask them 38 different things that you could be doing before you spend your money on a Zillow lead or on buying a lead at all. When was the last time you talked to every single person in your phone? Right there. If I ask you that question, it'll boggle your mind. What? What are you, nuts? No, I'm not. I am willing to bet you there are 5 sales in every single one of your phones or more right this minute. Right? And what if you went on a friend of yours, and see who their mutual friends are that maybe, or people you go, oh, they're mutual friends. What about those people that are the mutual friends I have with Jerry, the people you went out to dinner with last night, you said, or night before last, Missy? Okay. Think about, let's say, the wife. If I went onto Facebook and I saw our mutual friends, if we have, do you have some mutual friends on Facebook with them?
I actually don't.
No mutual friends.
No, which I thought was even kind of better.
Okay, well, it is, because now none of them know you. But when there are mutual friends, why am I bringing that up? You got to look at the mutual friend and say, when was the last time I talked to them? That mutual friend, not the one you sold the house to, but the mutual friend you have with them. Do you get what I'm saying? So now if it's the mutual friends, let's say she did have some mutual friends with you. You call them up and you go, how's it going? Long time no see. Now I have something to add to the conversation. By the way, we have a mutual friend named Missy, and I sold her house a couple of years. She invited me to dinner last night, and your name came up, right?
Yep.
Even if it only came up in your head, it still came up, right? So that's the saying. There's always so much that you can be doing above and beyond, but what we're all doing, this is human beings in general are immediate gratification people. We all want the reward right away. If I buy a lead, I got a lead. I bought it, I got it. But there's a substitute. The delayed gratification lead is the one that will close most quickly. The immediate gratification lead is the one you'll have to spend so much time in conversion and nurturing and all of those different things. Now, I want to stop right there because there's newer people on and there's more experienced people on. I want to hear what you're hearing when I say these things. What does it mean to you when I say immediate gratification versus delayed gratification, right? My wife built over 13 years of very successful network marketing business, and they tell her the work you do in the beginning will be long and tedious, but you'll continue to get paid for that work for the rest of your life, right? So now here she is 13 years later, she works on that business 2 to 5 hours a week and still gets paid and always will. That's the whole immediate gratification versus delayed. I want my instant result, or I don't feel good about myself and what I'm doing. Well, go ahead, Judy. Yeah, just jump in.
So I've been in real estate. This is starting my 3rd year.
Good.
And my first year in, I did an open house and I got a lead that I followed up with quarterly. And I just thought, well, they were just coming in because they lived in the neighborhood, and I took their listing agreement yesterday. So.
And how long ago was that? 3 years ago?
Yeah.
Isn't delayed gratification beautiful? Right? So let me ask you, what's the price of the listing?
We are going to list at $815.
$815. And an average commission for $815 is around 20 grand. Oh, darn. I'm so sorry for you that it took you 3 years to get 20 grand. That's a lot of freaking money, right? And what did she do? Once a quarter, she said she checked in with them. All right. So, and that's the beautiful thing. By the way, people don't know what they mean when they say, like, it's happened hundreds of times where people say, reach out to me in 3 months. I go, nah, I'm not falling for that trick. I'm reaching out to you in 3 weeks. Hey, just wanted to check in. I know you told me to reach out in 3 months, but I thought of you today, so I thought I'd check in, let you know that I got an email today in my email box that said that the feds are thinking of, hiking the rates in a short amount of time. If you are thinking about buying, probably now's the best time, right? Or if you're thinking about selling, guess what? The inventory is super low, but no hurry. I just want to make sure you had that information. Take care. Talk to you later. So what she did was delayed gratification at its very finest. She just continued to drip on them with the patience that one day they're going to need to buy or sell a house. So, and if they're going to sell, then maybe they're moving somewhere, and maybe they're moving somewhere that Judy doesn't work, but she could get a 25% referral fee for sending them to an agent that does work there. There's all kinds of opportunities everywhere. So good for you, Judy. That's the kind of story I want to hear. And Missy, was the impetus to make the call in the beginning that got you dinner invite, was it as a result of the videos? Or was it Michael Henry saying, did you watch the damn video, go make a call? Or what was it?
No, it was definitely the call that brought on the dinner. And it was actually our team just sitting around and talking about, like, encouraging each other.
Yeah.
to let's get this done.
Yeah. And and guys, just have a power hour. It's so much fun. We're not doing it enough on our team. My sales team is 14 people. We really got to do more. Yeah. Look at that. Do not disturb power hour. So what we're going to do is we're going to have once a month night, one night a month, we're going to have a pizza calling night. And, we're going to have a bell, and every time somebody gets a referral or an appointment, they ring the bell. And the people with the most bells that night, or, get the most points, are the ones who will receive an award. And we're not sure what it'd be. It might be just cash. It might be a gift certificate. We don't know. But these are the kinds of things that encourage you. There's so much business sitting in your database right now. So it's so important. That's why the beginning of this is learning to make the call and track the leads and get your sphere of influence tracker and really start to make a really big difference in if we call it the foundational structure of your future real estate business. So, all right, I'm going to stop right there. Who else has made a call? Who's done any of the homework assignments at all? Don't be embarrassed if you haven't. Just be honest about it, because you're just going to connect with somebody else on here who's also struggling the same way.
Sure, I'll speak up and share.
Thanks, Tina.
So my week didn't go quite as I wanted it to be honest. I went and dug into my easier leads to call than my cold calls. Not uncommon for me. So I still need to, next week is my power week. I'm not going to make any exceptions.
So describe for everybody here, Tina,
What's that?
what you mean when you say easier lead. For everybody here, what does it mean when you said I didn't go to my quote unquote cold calling, I went to my easier lead? Describe to everybody what you mean by an easier lead, and also what meant to you what cold calling is.
Okay, so what I call my warm leads are leads that I've been dripping on for years. So I've started to build relationships with these folks. They have not moved yet. I used those to call on Tuesday when we had our power hour call as a group. And because they're people that know me, and but I haven't sold them anything yet, right? We're still nurturing those leads. They're still not moving. A lot of them are older people. They're downsizers. They move really slow. The one good thing that came out of that was the one couple that I've been calling. It was very sad. The husband's passed away.
Oh.
And the first time I called the lady, no one answered. I got the voicemail, and I left a voicemail not saying anything about real estate ever. It was just, how are you guys? With COVID, I was concerned. How have you been? I just was calling to say hello. That was it. She called me right back on my cell phone and ended up telling me her husband passed away. And she tried to be real short with it, but I was just so nurturing with it. I felt that we ended up on the phone for about 35 minutes, which it was a great conversation. And I told her to take her time. She shouldn't think about moving yet. It's too soon. But she assured me, well, when I do, you've been so nice. I'll always think of you. And then from there, I ended up sending her a sympathy card. It's a thinking of you card in the mail today, just to kind of follow up with that. But those leads are just, to me, easier than if I'm calling someone I've never spoken to in my life, out of a GeoFarm or an Expired or a FSBO or something like that. You don't have a relationship yet, so you've got to start building that trust on the phone with somebody, a complete stranger. So that's where I'm still struggling a little bit, and I'm sure I will continue to struggle, but I just have to do it.
Can I interject and give you some credit? That is where you want to spend your calls right now, is the warm calls. And what makes most people nervous about making calls is talking about real estate, because you feel like you're shoving yourself down their throat. Agreed, everyone? Everyone? Yes? Yes? Okay, good. But if you're doing what you're doing, if you went through everybody in your phone, even other realtors in other areas that you know, and all you said was, maybe it's winding down, maybe it's not, but I want to check in on you. It's been almost 2 years since this whole mess started. How are you? Like, how receptive would people be to that call? It's been 2 years since this whole mess started. How have you been? How you holding up? Right?
Yeah.
And
the other thing that I started doing, which I don't know why I wasn't doing, is really easy. And it was stupid that I wasn't doing it. But, we all drive around, right, all the time in our cars. And I was, lately, if I'm driving by somebody's house that I sold them a house, I pick up the phone and I call them. hey, I'm in your neighborhood. I was just thinking about you, hope everything's well. And I'm not reaching them, but it's just a call and it's just a touch, right? And you're right there and it just brings it right to top of mind. So that was kind of cool. So I did that. And then
Tina,
the
I'll
third thing
challenge
I've been
you.
doing that's crazy is when it's their birthdays, I've been doing videos singing happy birthday to them, which I'm a terrible singer, but they think it's hysterical and they love it. So I just call them, it's not a call, it's an actual video I just send. It takes me
Yeah.
2 seconds and I don't know. I've been trying to do more things like that. So that was
Good for you.
my week.
So Tina, can you hear me?
Yes.
Next time you drive by, you pull in the driveway, you keep your engine running, put it in park, run up to the door, knock on the door. Just before
Okay.
anybody answers, step back for the 6-foot rule, right? You can even have a mask on underneath your chin so that you're ready to pull it up. And just say, was in the area. Didn't realize I was passing by your house, got the car running. I'm on my way to another appointment. Just wanted to say hi and see how you've been. If they answer, if they don't, then you jump back in the car, keep driving, call them, go, hey, I was in the area, stopped, knocked on your door, actually slipped a little card in your doorknob. That brings so much dividend to you, so much. And so just calling them while you're in the neighborhood is a big deal. Stopping by and knocking on the door is even a bigger deal. So more
awesome.
effort on behalf of them. And so Tina, you're well on track then, because you're comfortable doing the things that really so far in the video, that's what they're asking you to do, right? We're not circle dialing yet. We're not, for those of you who don't know circle dialing, that's calling maybe 50 to 100 numbers around your most recent sale or around your most recent listing. Right now, we're just saying, make a list. Who's the 50 people you know who are most likely, if you communicated with them regularly, to give you 1 referral a year? And I'll bet you all know a lot more than 50 of those, right? I mean, the number one person when she was alive that was my top 50 was my mom. She ran a restaurant. She still spoke English with a thick Lebanese accent. And everybody that came in, she'd go, are you new here? Like she'd say, are you? And then if they did, they said, do you know my son, Ricky? And I'm like, Mom, to my real estate clients, I'm Rick, not Ricky. So, but it worked. I'd get 2 referrals a month from my mom's restaurant. So you've got to find who are those top 50 people and really start nurturing the crap out of them more than you do the other several hundred people, right? I was talking to a 19-year-old yesterday, 19 years old, thinking about joining EXP. He lives in the San Jose, California area, but he's going to school in the Riverside area. And the thing that was so cool was he got it when I explained to him. I went into this. Now imagine this for each of you, depending on your age. I said, get your high school yearbook. I said, who are you going to see in your high school yearbook, Sean? And he said, a bunch of other people that I knew. And I said, right. Are there a lot of 19-year-olds buying homes? And he said, no. I said, exactly right. But I said, what I'd be asking you to look for is, who do you see in your high school yearbook that you knew their parents well? And he said, I didn't think of that. I said, right, pick a name. He says, Mark. I said, did you know Mark's parents? He said, yeah, we used to hang out over at his house all the time. Hi, Mr. and Mrs. Mark's parents. It's Sean. Do you remember me? I used to come over all the time when I was in high school with your son. How are you? How have you guys been handling this last couple of years? Right? I said, just have a conversation and don't make it about you. Don't make it about, I just got into real estate and I needed to tell you. Make it about them. And at some point, whether it's the first call or second call or even third call, they're going to say, Sean, what's going on with you? What are you doing right now? My son's a freaking loser. It sounds like you're a real winner, So the idea is, there's so many people. When I was in my office, and I've shared this on there before, my office in Fremont, I found this section that had the yearbooks from my sons going to high school. But I went to the same high school and I advertised in their yearbooks, which is why they gave me one. But guess what? My sons are in their mid-30s. One of the highest percentage of first-time home buyers right now is 32 to 35 years old. Highest percentage. My sons are 32 and 35, right in there. So if I'm looking in their yearbook, I'm seeing a bunch of people who could buy houses. Plus, I'm seeing people whose parents I knew. So there's all kinds of people I could be calling just by looking in the yearbook. There's never a lack of people you know. There's just a lack of people you forgot you knew. Do you get that? So have something that primes the memory bank. There's so much we can be doing to make a bigger difference right now. So Tina, I really got to thank you for sharing, all of you that have shared so far. Now, those of you that haven't, who else has got something to share with me? I felt like a couple of you were about ready and then someone else spoke and you stopped. So jump in there. Do you want me to do the Jeopardy tune while we're
Hey,
waiting?
Rick, it's MC.
Hi, MC, Santa Cruz, California. How are you?
Hey, I'm doing well, thanks.
Good.
And you are on fire this morning.
Well, I've been up a while.
Okay.
I've already done 4 Zooms, so.
Oh my God. Okay. Yeah, well, I did my fair share of being overwhelmed by the intensity of this, especially the first week. But and then the idea of getting 60 calls per day just blew my mind. So
Who was doing that?
it's that 60 point.
No, it's not 60 calls. It's 61 points. If you
Right.
show a client 2 homes, that's 10 points.
Yeah, I know, but I don't have
Yeah.
any showings right
Oh,
now.
okay.
so.
Okay. So they're all going to be calls for you. But look at this, MC. If you make a call, that's a point, right?
Yeah,
And then what was it if you wrote a handwritten note?
I think that was 2.
2. So it's really hard if you're going to do your call like you're supposed to, whether you got them or not, you write them a handwritten note. There you go. That's 3 points right there.
Yeah.
So basically you're looking at 20 calls with handwritten notes, you're done.
Yeah, that's a good way to look at it.
Yeah.
And I also just thought, well, chunk it down, make it something that I know I'll do, and then just, plan for success over time. Like
Yes.
maybe over a week or 2
Mhm.
weeks, bump it up.
And MC, do you remember, since you brought up the 61 points of rhythm, as they call it, or my daily success habits form?
Yeah,
Do you remember what I said last week about that form?
no.
That form can set you up for success or failure depending on your mindset. But what if you said to yourself, I ain't doing 61 points a day right now. Okay, that's 5 days a week. But I'll tell you what I am going to do, MC, as you're talking to yourself in the mirror, right? You're going to say, I'd be willing to commit to 21 points a day, 3 days a week. Okay.
Right.
Now you've generalized. How many days a week are there? There's 7, right?
Yeah.
So you've got leeway. You just have to pick any 3. And on those 3, get 21 points.
Gotcha.
Because if you can start low and build victories, you can easily increase.
I like the way that feels.
Oh, and I'm glad you're saying that, because that's the majority of the public. That's the majority of people in real estate. That feels better than going. I remember people go to Mike Ferry seminars and they would never lead generate an hour a week. And then he would tell at the seminar, you're calling for 3 hours every day. And they all leave and go, I'm calling for 3 hours every day. I was one of them. I do it for 1 day and then never again.
Right.
It's the same
Right.
thing that we talked about last week about make 1 call a day. But if you really want to do the DSH right, then pick a number of points per day and how many days and live up to it. Live up to it for a month or 2 months, decide.
Mhm.
And then, oh, now I'm moving up to 25 points 4 days a week, right? Or whatever. But
Right.
you set yourself up for victory. We don't need to set ourselves up for failure. The world's doing that for us.
That's a really good point.
See, and all of this, guys, all of this mental, this mental crap, like MC was honest. She said, gosh, I felt like it was so much. But just remember, if we change the way we look at things, the things we look at change. So
Mhm.
now if I'm looking at it like, oh, this is a blank form, I can mold it into whatever I want. I'm going to do 10 points a day, 3 days a week. Now I go a month and I've done 10 points a day, 3 days a week, every week. Now, aren't I feeling pretty good about myself? Because why do I feel good about myself? Because I did what I said I would do.
Mhm.
Period. That's all, because I did what I said I would do. One of my guys that ran one of my Keller Williams offices, he ran my Modesto Keller Williams office for many years. And he would put on the board, Dizzy Wad, Wizzy Wad. Does anybody know what those mean? They were the initials that stood for do what you said you would do when you said you would do it. Dizzy Wad, Wizzy Wad. Do what you said you would do when you said you would do it. That's it. he said, this is the foundation of self-esteem and integrity. It's where they meet.
That's great.
Yeah.
What do you suggest for leaving messages? Because I'm finding most people aren't picking up their phones during the day.
I'm so glad you asked that. It's like I paid you money to ask the right questions, MC. So here's what this is what I say. Tom, Mary, it's Rick Jiha. Remember me? Sell real estate. Haven't seen or heard from you in a while. I feel like I owe you an apology. Give me a call. I'd love to catch up.
Okay, that's short and sweet.
Now, what part in there do you think will catch their attention? I feel like I owe you an apology.
Oh, yeah.
You know, they're going to go, what the hell would Rick owe us an apology for? And what am I saying I'm sorry for when I get them?
Not staying in touch.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Not having checked in on you during COVID. It's been a crazy 21 months. Crazy. What have you been up to? How you feeling? What's going amazing in your life? What can I support you with? Right? And remember, people, obviously, we want to get to the point where we say, you guys remember that I sell real estate for a living? But we're not doing that because then it's about us, not them.
Yeah.
And that's why I said sometimes it's the first call, sometimes it's the second, sometimes it's the third before they finally say, I feel so selfish. I haven't asked about you. What are you up to? Right?
Brilliant.
My younger brother is a TV producer and he's hilarious. And he's done it on the phone with me millions of times because, I mean, he lives down there. He's got a family. I live up here. I got a family. But when he'll call and he'll just start talking about himself and everything that's going on. He's an avid tennis player and all of this. And then finally he'll stop and listen to what he says. He'll go, Rick, I'm so sorry. We've only been talking about me. Let me talk about you. What do you think about me? Nobody, no joke there. You guys didn't get it.
I got it.
Yeah. So we don't need to do that. We just need to let them know that we're caring about them. And it's like, that's why I love calling in November because it's National Gratitude Month, right? Everybody, it's not a religious holiday, it's gratitude. So, but one of the things I love calling about January is the whole month of January, you can still say Happy New Year, right? And then up here in Northern California where I live, Chinese New Year is really, really big. So I like, we tell everybody, gun hei fa choi. And just learning those things so that you have an excuse to call people.
Mm-hmm.
But the best excuse ever is, I'm just checking in on you.
Cool.
I called a lady in May of 2020. That's right. 2 months after COVID shut down, right? And she goes, Rick, I can't even, are you calling me about real estate? I can't talk about real estate. I go, actually, no, I was just calling to see how you're doing. And then there was a moment of silence. She goes, are you serious? And I said, yeah. We haven't talked in ages and it's been a couple months since the whole world shut down. I was just checking in on my friends. She goes, my damn kids don't check in on me. You checked in on me? Like, that's exactly how she reacted. You just never know. And when we had people calling and checking in all over the United States and Canada, I was coaching people to just call in, check in, everybody in your phone, that 2 out of 10 phone calls was resulting. 2 out of 10 phone calls was resulting in a conversation about real estate. So you never know. It's not predictable, guys. It's random. And when it happens, you think, oh my gosh, it's happening to me, right? Because you're making the calls. So, all right, good, very good share, MC. And thank you for jumping in. I appreciate it. Who else got something to say?
Can I just pop in just for 1 second?
Yeah,
I just wanted
jump
to
right in, Tina. Go ahead.
share something. So last night, as I was working on my homework, I got sidetracked and I went into the role playing in the courses that we have.
Mm-hmm.
That role playing, you guys, is awesome. Like, if you haven't watched those videos, I would highly suggest you do it, because there was a lady in there, and I'm sure you know her, Rick, Denise, I think. She was a coach. She's been an agent for 40 years. She led one of the classes on there, and it was phenomenal. The energy and just the ideas she gave you of ways to handle objections and get comfortable with calling.
She was on the which course was it you were watching?
It was just it wasn't a course. It was just a role playing, like.
Oh, was it Denise Klein?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
she's amazing. She's in the Vegas market. Yeah.
But
I'm
if
the one
you
who,
watched
I'm the
that
one who brought her to
before-
Workman. Yeah, she's awesome.
Yeah. we're actually going to watch it again. I'm going to share it with my group and have them kind of watch it with me next week before we make our calls.
And where did you find it again? Did you find it on the Workman site or?
I did.
Okay, good. Yeah, you guys mess around on that site. There's so much stuff there, so much incredible stuff. Yeah.
Tina,
And
do you
then-
mind sending a link in the chat? Because I would definitely would learn from that. Where did you find that?
Yeah, it's just in your coursework. Like if you go into ramp, you know how there's ramp and all the different
Ramp,
things.
slam,
it'll be at
amp,
the
and
bottom.
bam. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. And then, yeah, that's awesome that you brought that up. There's also a Facebook page for Workman that you guys can jump on. And then John at workmansuccesssystems.com. He is the guy that oversees our program, and you can ask him anything. He knows everything about what's out there. Anything that you want to learn that you don't see in there, he'll show you the resource for it. Okay. All right. Now, today is January 14th. The month is about half over. I'm going to highly suggest, I'm big on this, that the thing that gets the majority of your attention besides watching your videos and keeping up with your homework assignment is that you get your darn business plan workbook completely done, start to finish. Okay. And people say, oh, well, this is a end of the year, beginning of the year thing. No, we teach brand new clients to Workman Success Systems, whether they come in March, July, it doesn't matter, to do a business plan first. And they go, well, what's that period? I don't care what period. It doesn't matter. Call it from today till the end of the year. Call it from now for 5 years, but get your business plan done. That is the map to your destination. All right. So, and those are the kinds of questions I'd love for you to bring here. Rick, I was trying to fill out the business plan workbook and this stopped me, or this or that. That's where my expertise lies. All right. Look, at the end of the day, I am struggling with exactly the same things you are. Okay. That no different. Maybe I sell more homes than you. Maybe I sell less. It doesn't matter. What matters is what are we struggling with and how can we help each other overcome that? All right. Let's see, Tina, I'm having problems printing the next week's corresponding workbook page. Or I do that. The workbook in the first week is the entire workbook. Did you print that? You did, and you can't get all of the workbook printed?
I must be fine then, Rick. I thought there was like I thought every week we had to print a new pack of stuff.
Oh, no. Just print the first one. And
Okay.
this is, let me show you what I got right here.
So it's just the downloads as we go through, like the different download pieces, I guess, which
Right.
I did those. Those are okay.
Okay, so this one is what you buy if you want to buy it. I think it's $50. Where'd you go, Tina? You moved on my screen. I don't know how you went from the left side of my screen to the right side, but do you have that, Judy? What do you got over there? What are you showing me? You got something? Yeah. Did you buy it or did you print it? Okay, so this one is Ramp Live, which is one they do where they actually have it on Zoom and people where you're on Zoom every single day. Thank you, Missy. That's the one you printed? Yeah. I actually even though I love this one because I don't have the patience to print and everything, I think the printed one that they give us follows along better than this, because this one you're expected to have an instructor talking to you every day. So I like the one that they allow us to print right off there. And one of the things I did the very first time I did Ramp, because even as coaches, we were required to go through the whole program, is I went through all 12 weeks and printed up everything they wanted us to print up, and I put it in a big old note, but this was several years ago. But it's really, really effective for you to have that stuff laid out in front of you. Have a nice little spot where at the end of it, you can all shove it in a drawer and then take it out again and lay it out in front of you. For me to have I'd need 9 monitors to have everything I wanted up on a screen at the same time. I'd rather just have the paper. So start to look at the habits, by the way, that work for you. Does it work better for you to have it? It's one of the things that irritates Casey the most. I like to just take everything out of my briefcase and lay it right here on the table. And, and if somebody happens to be coming over to our house and I'm on the dining room table, forget it. I put everything dumped in a box and then hide the box in the garage. So, all right. So look at your habits, see what's working, see what's not. All right. I don't like calling on people that don't want to talk because it puts them feeling unsafe or uncomfortable, but this is a small group, and I just want to say that I've been looking at her and I feel like she's ready to say something. She's not. And I'm talking about you, Miss Smiling Jordan. Do you have anything you want to say? Because you seem like you were pretty close to saying something about 9 times. So,
I wanted to ask you about your success habits tracker,
okay.
because I recently discovered the most amazing tool, which is a 3-line dialer.
Okay.
And in an hour and a half, I managed to get through 391 calls, made 37 contacts, left 67 voicemails and spoke to 3 people that might actually do something.
How much time did it take you to do that?
90 minutes from 9:30 until 11 a.m.
Jeez.
I couldn't believe
You're
it.
my freaking hero.
I couldn't believe it.
I've never been even able to use a 1-line dialer, let alone a 3-line dialer.
I still just am an odd that I could get through these and actually get to 3 people that might have some talent,
And does the system roll the people that didn't answer back in for a future call, or what does it do?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
and
That's
even
what I
rolls the
thought.
people back in that you left a voicemail for.
Right.
But on the 61 points, it says calls. Does that actually mean contacts? Because
No, one is calls and one is contacts. The call gets a point. Okay.
okay,
Now, if you're doing it electronically, it is an editable PDF, by the way. Imagine this. If I put a slant there, that means I made a call. And if I put one of these, that means someone answered.
right.
Right.
So,
but
but
you
you've
don't
got
get
the-
any more and more points. You're still getting a point for the call.
But you got the 50 dials up on top. I mean,
Right. That's 50 points. Right.
That's-
If you just made the dials, meaning you made the call and no one answers, someone did answer, you left a voicemail, it all counts the same. So there's no more points for reaching the person.
right.
Okay. But over in the bottom, in the right corner, on the right middle, you see where it says contacts. So
Contact.
one is a dial, and if someone answers, that's a contact. A contact doesn't mean anything if they just answer and say, "Don't ever call me again," right? But
Right.
so you don't get a point for that. You get a point for making the call. And then if there's a handwritten note, you get 2 more points, things like that. But the main thing that you want to track is your conversations. If you
Right.
spoke to a certain amount of people and only 3 set you up, think about what's working in your conversation. What can you tell me maybe what was the longest phone call you had with any of those? Didn't you say you reached 37 people?
What I was calling about were foreclosures, and there's a program right now that's just rolled out nationally. It's the Homeowners Assistance Fund. It's
Okay.
for people that are at foreclosure, or they don't actually have to be that. If they've been in forbearance or have trouble making their mortgage payments, they can apply to this program for up to $36,000 that the government will reinstate their mortgage for them. Now, some of
Wow.
these people are still going to need to sell their home, but
Yeah.
it's a great conversation starter at least, and could save people from actually having to leave their home.
Right.
So
So
those,
are you a transplant from England?
no, from Australia.
From Australia? Okay. I couldn't tell because for a while there, you're sounding like like regular English or non-Australian English, and then you seem to slip back into it. Are you fighting that, or what are you doing?
No, I'm American born, but I lived 20 years in Australia.
Oh, okay.
Whenever I get really excited or I talk to my friends or I get the accent comes out a bit, but
Okay, good.
as an American, it's more of an American accent, but it does.
Well, the
come out when
first
I'm
sentence, it all sounded normal until you said diala.
Oh, did I?
Nice.
I don't even know I'm saying it.
Yeah, that's okay. All right. So this is really brilliant. And for a lot of us, what she said will overwhelm us. But all it is you have the headsets on and the machine is, it's not a machine, it's your computer. It's dialing all these numbers for you and hanging up. Sometimes it's leaving voicemails. And if whatever line connects, then that's the one that takes control, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you could be dialing 3 lines. And what happens is if you pick a line that answered, if the other 2 answers, it just disconnects because you're already connected to a line.
It disconnects and it leaves unfortunately, it leaves a bit of a robo message.
Yeah.
But then if you get a connection and it's a voicemail, you can press a button and it'll leave a voicemail. So you're not spending that time doing it, which is why you can get through 400 calls within an hour and a half.
Right. And it's your voice on the voicemail you're leaving that you've pre-recorded. Right. So
Yeah.
yeah. That's good. And I would, if you have anything that you could put in those chat group about the link for that home assistance program so we can read up on it. But I do admire you for doing the effort. 90 minutes is a heck of a long time. And people say, oh, 90 minutes goes by like a flash. Not when you're calling. It's very tedious when you're calling for 90 minutes. Trust me.
It's rather intimidating.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to get to a habit where I'm doing 90 minutes a day, and I'm
Yeah.
not there yet because it's intimidating. And I had someone threaten that they're gonna report me, and
Yeah,
you just kind of, it's like water on a duck's back. You just have to get used to it.
exactly. I want to look at something real quick. All right. Thank
Find
you
out.
for letting me call on you, Jordan. And where are you geographically?
I'm in Las Vegas. I
Oh,
met
okay.
you at EXPCon. I was the sad one.
Oh, that's right. But you don't
Yeah.
look a tad sad right now, not even a bit.
No, I'm good. I'm good.
Yeah.
I listen every day. I went and got the Joe Dispenza.
You
And
did?
so every morning I meditate in the morning, and not every evening, but every single morning I listen to Joe Dispenza.
That's great. If I wasn't on the headset, my wife would be clapping for you right now because she can't hear you, but we're big fans, big fans. Yeah, just, it's what's the first thing he says? You don't want to live in the past. You want to think about the vision of your future, right? So,
Right.
yeah.
Actually, I think it's take a deep breath.
Yes. Dewey, it's Dr. Joe Dispenza, Dispenza. So, all right. So the one other thing that I want to cover before we, I'm looking for it in the booklet real quick here. Hold on. Daily says the guy says no. So on the book, the greatest salesman in the world, how many of you own it yet? Okay, one. Next time I ask that, I want all the hands to go up. Thank you, Michael.
I got it.
This book is life-changing in many ways. It's just a good something to boost your day. But remember what Verl said in the thing was that scroll number 1 starts on chapter 8, by the way, and it's today I begin a new life. Today, as he said in the repeat there, today I shed my old skin, which hath too long suffered the bruises of failure and the wounds of mediocrity. And that applies to most of us because guess what? Mediocrity is where most people live. It's not a bad thing. It's just average. So for you to step up and be the biggest, best version of yourself, you have to get past what we call the wounds of mediocrity. So that's really a good one. And as you go through it, they will always mention one of the scrolls that will help you with the book, it will help you with the lesson that week and then why we do the lesson and how it connects. So let me see in week 2. Oh, wait, that's week 1, part 2. Sorry. Yeah, it's kind of weird in this book because it doesn't, it goes by class number, and the class number sometimes overlaps. So week 2, tracking your leads on your own lead tracker key. So in the second week, it's scroll number 3, I will persist until I succeed, which let's go to that one because that's one of my favorite ones. Okay. Scroll number 3 is, I will persist until I succeed. In the Orient, young bulls are tested for the fight arena in a certain manner. Each is brought to the ring and allowed to attack a picador who pricks them with a lance. The bravery of each bull is then rated with care according to the number of times he demonstrates his willingness to charge in spite of the sting of the blade. Henceforth, I will recognize that each day I am tested by life in the like manner. If I persist, if I continue to try, if I continue to charge forward, I will succeed. And then it says, I was not delivered into this world in defeat, nor does failure course in my veins. I am not a sheep waiting to be prodded by my shepherd. I am a lion, and I refuse to talk, to walk, to sleep with the sheep. I will hear not those who weep and complain, for their disease is contagious. Right there, it's saying who you surrounding yourself with. So many people read right past that and they don't get that one message. And that message is, I will not sleep. It says here, I refuse to walk, talk, sleep with the sheep. I will hear not those who weep and complain, for their disease is contagious. Guys, please notice the people around you. It is horrible. And people say, well, they're my family and I love them. Great. Love them from a distance. Just don't allow the negativity to infect you. All right. So that's just part of that one, but it's something really important. Each week, try to read the scroll that they tell you is aligned with that lesson. That will help you quite a bit. All right. Okay, I'm making sure I didn't miss anything. Okay, Jordan, thank you very much for that link. That's helpful. If you all click on that in the chat, it opens up and it'll still be there in your computer when we get off this. Do me a favor, guys, by next Friday, it's a lot of work. Please have everything done in week 1 and week 2 and week 3. All right. It's okay to be a little behind, but the behinder you get, the worse it gets for you. So, all right. I think you're all amazing. Obviously, I wouldn't be spending my time with you if I didn't. So I'm here to help you out. And for those of you who I didn't hear from, I hope to hear from you next week. Okay. Take care, everybody.
Thanks, Rick.
My pleasure.
Thank you.
Thank you.